everybody. This is Rich Hanlin with Mortgage Ballers. We are back today with another interview, and we've tracked down the legendary Arturo Solis out of California, and we're going to pick his mind today. We're going to find out a little bit about who he is, what he does, the type of business he does, and maybe a little bit of what he does when he's not working, because there's always a second side to the loan originators. This one's one of the ones you're going to want to hear, because this guy's an up and rising star. He's been doing a great job. He's here with Xpert Home Lending, blessing us with his presence. Arturo, how you doing today?
Doing great, Rich. How are you?
Right on. Right off the bat, tell everybody where you're located and what state that you're licensed in.
I'm located in Sacramento, California, and I'm licensed in just California for now.
Okay. Have you done any business out of state using the Xpert Home Lending referral program yet, or haven't got that far yet?
I have. I get a lot of referrals from Tennessee, weirdly.
Okay.
I don't know why. I think we can go into that a little later, but yeah, I've gotten a few from Tennessee, so I have done it through the referral program. But I don't think I've done enough to where it'll make sense for me to get licensed there. Just every once in a while, I'll get a random one.
Okay.
But mainly because I speak Spanish, I'll get like, hey, I can't handle this. I can't do this client. Can you take them over?
Oh, that's good. I was telling you right before we started this that we got some loan originators that are multi-language, lingual. I don't want to say bilingual, because obviously they're multi. 114. Yesterday,
Right.
someone had like 4, and I was like, things I didn't even know. I didn't even know this, but that is so huge in this market. I think Spanish is probably the number one request we get when people go online and stuff like that. I see a lot of you guys talking on our Facebook group. Hey, can anybody help? Can anybody help? Somebody showed me the other day that ChatGPT can be in different languages, in output. And I was like, okay, I learned something new that day.
Yep, that's correct.
How long you been doing this? How long you been doing the loan business?
So I started in February of 2022 as a loan officer assistant
Okay.
for a different company here in Sacramento. It's a company called Better Rate Mortgage. So I
Okay.
started there, and I worked as a loan officer assistant from February 2022 to February 2023, basically. So I got a full year of just basically processing, working on files, collecting documents from clients. Then I got licensed, and then February of 2023, I basically just kind of
Jumped on in.
yeah, just went on my own. So yeah, that first year, processing files, again, collecting documents. But I really focused on trying to learn mortgage outside of the deals. So I would
Sure.
go on Investopedia, and I would look up like they had like basic info on conventional FHA VA loans. And then there was a few YouTube channels I would watch where like there's a guy, he would like go over a loan estimate, stuff like that, just so I can kind of get an idea of how to do it myself. So that's basically all I did the first year, just learned. Zero sales experience. So February 2023 comes, hey man, you're off salary, go be a loan officer. That was tough.
I'm sure it was.
That was very tough.
Fearful. Yeah.
I knew everything. I knew how to price a loan. I knew how to, pick the whatever product I needed, how to do an app, how to get creative, but I had zero sales experience. And I had no book of business. I didn't know anything about agents. I was just calling trigger leads at the time.
Okay.
If you're going to sell trigger leads, you got to know how to sell, because they're getting blown up by everyone.
Yeah. A lot of competition.
Yeah, I think my first year I was able to survive. Luckily, I funded in like 9 deals my first. So I was able to do 1 a month, still like living paycheck to paycheck, because they were still trigger leads. So we had to be very thin on the pricing. So it wasn't like crazy full comp. Like I probably didn't make full comp on any of those. I was able to survive, do like 1 a month in 2023. And then February of 2024, that's when it really started to like pick up.
Okay.
As far as, like business goes.
Oh, I see that. I could tell you from a company standpoint, since January 1st, app intake has been the highest like it's ever been.
Yeah,
As we start our 4th year, I'm just like, wow, okay, something's going on out there.
for sure.
Do you do it all alone, or are you part of a team? I can't remember. I think you were part of a team and then went alone. I can't remember.
Yeah, we switched over to Xpert Home Lending
Okay.
in October. I was with Primed Up
Yeah.
for a few months. Yeah, correct. That's who I basically started with. He basically taught me the ropes, showed me mortgage.
He does a lot of leads.
Yeah.
That's like his
He
specialty.
has like a big lead, like systems.
Mhm.
So we switched we were doing that at the other company, and then we
Okay.
switched to Xpert. When we switched over, we still had all the lead stuff going on, but when we switched over, there was these 2 guys that still work at Better Rate Mortgage, and they were new. They started the same time as me, and they
Right.
were crushing it. They were doing like 5, 6 loans a month, brand new. And I was a little upset because in my head, I'm like, we started at the same time. I have all these leads. I have all these systems.
Hmm.
They had nothing. They had no CRM, nothing, and they were crushing it. And they basically told me, "Hey, this is what we're doing. You should do it too." So what they were doing was going out, meeting agents, meeting escrow title, meeting everyone basically. And then for the next few months, I basically started to focus on that. So I kind of got away from the leads. Like last year, I think I funded maybe two
Went after
of
relationships.
right.
Totally
Yeah,
different.
yeah. I just started going after strictly relationships. So I did that basically for 5 to 6 months towards the end of 2023, early 2024.
Okay.
And then, yeah, in August of this year, I work under Thomas Harris now, and
Oh, you're with Thomas. Okay.
he's actually
Yeah.
launching his team now. We're launching the team today. We have like a little event we're doing out here in Sacramento.
I think I saw that on my Facebook thing, and I was like, look, quite a few people. You guys going to hit 200 on that? I mean, there's quite
Yeah,
a few
we're
people.
at like 170
Yeah.
signups already, and there's a bunch of people that are told me they're going and they're not signed up, so it should be a pretty big turnout.
Well,
Uh,
for the record, I knew Thomas before he blew up, before
he,
he got a
and
coach.
he always tells me, hey, I knew Rich before Xpert Home Lending, and I'm like, I know.
Here's the thing about Thomas. When people, so he was doing it, and he was just kind of like you, just kind of getting a couple deals, couple deals, couple
Yeah.
deals. And his story is good because a lot of people have that one aha moment. And for him, I think it was a coach
Yep.
that just turned him around and said, dude, Hano. Well, I was interviewing him yesterday, and some of the different people you'll see, like they all have that aha moment where someone shows them a little different method, and it seems hard at first, but because they do it every day, Noel Brownell, just all day long, he makes his 25 calls every single day.
Yep.
And he's like, he doesn't stop till he gets them in. He hits it, man. That guy has a cell phone all the time, and he's always shaking hands, at least electronically. And
Right.
so I've seen it do it. And then when Thomas jumped in there, I saw his returns. Thomas is not in the easiest market, California.
Right.
So there's a huge testimony to that, to doing it, building relationships. That, I mean, I'm more comfortable than that. I don't want to call leads all day. I've done
Right.
leads also, but when my people trust me, then that trust gets pushed into the buyer or borrower, and they totally have that built-in trust between the two of us.
Right.
And but then I got to deliver, right? It's all about delivering.
Yep.
Right on. I like that. That makes more sense now.
Yeah. So I've
Um,
been with him since August, and yeah, it's been
Being around successful people, it brings everybody up. That's for sure.
yeah. And he was doing what I was doing. He had an event about a year ago, exactly a year ago.
Okay.
It was huge. It was like one of the biggest real estate events in the area. Everyone went. That's where I met him. And I saw on the sign, Expert Home Lending. Hey, I work for the same company. So we ended up
Okay.
being friends. We ended up going to UWM at the same time. So we ended
Oh,
up
nice.
building a relationship. We would always talk on the phone, asking questions, bouncing ideas off each other. And yeah, I mean, I think like a month or two when I met him, I in my head knew that I wanted to work with him eventually.
Okay.
So in like August, September, I made the jump. So
Well, it's you find that person that matches your energy, and it can change everything. Like
yeah,
after you, I've got Amanda Rawl. She carries a ton of energy. She's one of the people that I call personally, like when I need to bounce stuff off of, and vice
yeah.
versa. I've known her for about 10 years now. Um, all right, question for you here. When you're not doing loans, who are you? What do you do? Or are you just doing loans 24/7? I mean, what's your personal life? What kind of stuff you like to do when you actually get some time to yourself?
In the last year, it's definitely been loans 24/7 for sure.
I agree.
But I got married. Also got married in August of 2024. And me and my
Congratulations. I didn't know that.
thank you. Yeah. So me and my wife have been together. We've been together for 10 years this year. So we got together in
Wow.
sophomore year, 2015 high school. That's when
Woo.
we got together. So we just got married in August. So we like to do a lot of outdoor stuff. We like going paddle boarding,
Okay.
hiking, kayaking, spending a lot of time with the family. I think that's very important for us. So definitely outdoors, spending time with family. I like watching football and basketball. So
All
do a
right.
lot of that. But yeah, I would say most like hobbies is just outdoor activities, just trying to stay active. Just because during the week, even on the weekend, so busy with work, and then she also works too.
Absolutely.
So
Here's my thing for you, Arturo, is my wife's been with me 30, well, we've been together like 35 years. I've been doing this 35 years. So actually we've been together 37. We've been married almost 32 of those, but she has only been married to a real estate person that whole time. Loans to open houses, and I'm not going to lie, it takes a toll. Like there's good money to be made, especially the better you become. You learn to trust it, and it can give you incredible freedoms. But my challenge to all you younger guys is make sure you keep your balance, because at one time I didn't know how to turn it off,
yeah,
and I started missing important things. I don't need to tell you this, but it's that's part of the backstory of the original. 'Cause I didn't know any different. I just thought you go and you work, and I was getting a lot of business, so of course I got to do it. Um, as Thomas figured it out, like, hey, I'm getting too busy. I need to start hooking up with more people.
right,
Otherwise he's doing it all himself, and he'll fall in that same trap. There comes a point in your life where everything that you said that makes you happy still has to exist. And while you're also meeting the other end, because I would tell you your time off balances out all the time when you got it turned on. And that's what I like about Thomas and stuff like that. Thomas is not the same as he was when I first met him at
that's
all.
here.
And
Right.
so watching that transition, and Thomas has become an incredible, consistent originator. And you'll being with that, Thomas can go anywhere he wants, right? And so I get very blessed sometimes when these guys find their stride, but yet they still find enough value in our platform. And so that's what I like. But
Right.
I mean, he's self-made. Ain't nothing that I'm doing. Believe me, he's making us look good. My job is to help him look good so that he can keep growing when he's out there. Because I know what you guys are doing on the weekends, and I know what you're doing after hours.
Yeah.
And it's not a 9 to 5 job, unfortunately.
No,
You
for
know.
sure. Yeah. And luckily for me, my wife, she understands, like,
What does your wife do?
she's an accountant.
Okay, all right.
For the state, so it's not like crazy. Like she doesn't work at Deloitte or something where she's working crazy hours. She works for the state. She works for CalPERS here in Midtown. So
Okay.
5, but she understands the goals because I told her when I first got into mortgage that it was going to be commission only, and that if we
Scary.
wanted to live, because we talked about our goals, what we wanted to do, buying a house. Luckily, we were able to do that.
Mhm.
Traveling, getting married. I said, hey, if we're gonna want to do these things, it's gonna take a little bit or a big sacrifice now and for the next coming year. So she understands that, luckily, and she, supports and is very. I don't know what the right word is to say, but she understands like the work that we have to do. So she's very, very understanding, thankfully,
Sure.
just because she knows like the high risk, high reward. So that's really, really helpful because I have friends who are in the industry. Their wife, it's always just jawing back and forth because they're working too much or things like that. But luckily for me, it's not like that. So it helps a lot, especially just in personal life and then in work life.
Well, and I would tell your wife this too. We have more people under my past platform and this platform, even in this market, that are high income earners. That excites me because when I say high income, these guys are all 200, 250, 500. We have $1 million earners. We have one that's close to 2 million. And it's like, and I'm talking, that's what they make.
Right.
You know, those are life changing amounts. And at your age, getting into it early, um, which you are early, believe it or not, you're going through the hardest point of what you're going to go through in the next 5 years, and you're finishing out the end of it right now. You're going to go. I would challenge you to have a conversation with me a year from now when the rates maybe pull back a little bit and your pipeline has 5 times as many loans in it, and you start to go this, because you get it on both sides. You're working hard to find the deals when there aren't no deals, and then you're working hard to close all these deals when your pipeline's full, and you
Correct.
run into that same time issue on both sides. But hey, we're all a little bit happier when we have money in our bank account, right? It makes it more worth it. But those times are coming. I can see it. It's already starting. So I think we're in the right direction. It's been about 3 years. Everybody's ready. There's a lot of pent up energy. And by the way, I mean, 430 loan originators down to 93,000 is what I think I heard
Yeah.
over the last couple of years, because people getting out of the industry. There's millions of homeowners.
Right.
So, those who can hang in there, a lot of people will try and rush back in, but I'll tell you what, technology changes so fast. The
Correct.
learning curve, you get out for 6 months, man, you might not be able to get back in. I definitely see a difference. People say, oh, I was like one of the top people in 2019. I'm like, well, shit,
Yeah,
we
that's
don't even have anything that looks like 2019.
a completely different ballgame, right?
All right, talk to me this way, because I know the goal wasn't just to keep pounding you with a bunch of questions, but I want to make sure people know who you are, because when they put a face to the voice, um, now you talk to different buyers, home buyers, homeowners, and things today in the same market that I'm in, talking to people.
Yeah.
Based on what you're hearing, what advice would you give to those people? Coming from somebody who's younger in the industry versus I'm older, I'm 57 going on 58. So I get that we both have the same interest of getting them to that next step, but sometimes we deliver that message differently. What would you tell people that are maybe on the fence or trying to figure things out?
So for me, the way I kind of go about it, I do help a lot of people that, so I'm 25. I help not too many people that are exactly
25. Good
my
Lord.
not too many people that are exactly my age, but like late 20s to mid
Sure.
30s.
It's hard at that age to be a homeowner. And you already said that you guys got there.
Yeah, so that's kind of the route I take. So I always mention when they're on the first approval call, when they have a question about something, like whether it's rate or payment, I bring my situation into it. So
Uh-huh.
I always mention, yeah, like when I was looking for a house and we were putting in offers, so they know that I'm not just because like there's a lot of loan officers and realtors that don't own a house.
I
When I
100% agree.
when I
A little
tell
different.
yeah, when I tell them that I actually have a house and they know how old I am, I don't know what it does, but it really switches their mindset. Like, oh, wow, if he can do it, he's younger than me, then I can do it. So it's funny because someone asked me that. It was an agent. He said, what pushback are you getting from people? And I think with me, I try to prep them so well up front. I
Right.
make sure the whole approval is based off their monthly payment budget. So that way, when I go over the approval, it's based off what they already told me they wanted. So like, hey, I want to stay max 3,000 a month. Okay, I'm gonna get your approval right at that. I'll let the agent know beforehand. They'll have houses ready, and it's not like any shock. Versus before, I would just wait, give them their max approval, 600,000. Oh, here's your payment, 5 grand a month, and they
Right.
would freak out. So I think my biggest advice, whether it's to loan officers or realtor, is just try to focus on their budget and make sure that you kind of base the approval off their budget and then try to I guess it's harder if you don't own a house, but try to relate to them as much as you can. Because when I started doing that, especially right after I closed, it was a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
Like complete game changer. Like people that like there was a guy that was on the fence. I don't want to do it. I'm not ready. He was late 30s. And I told him, I worded it like, I didn't want to make it sound like, oh yeah, I bought a house, but I said, hey, yeah, when I was looking, I got approved. I was looking, submitted offers, got accepted. I was like, when the first offer got accepted, I was freaking out. I was scared. Is this the right decision? But I ended up doing it because I know long run, it makes sense. I bought in a good market. I know the housing market here, at least where I bought in North Natomas, it continues to appreciate.
Okay.
So I know I'll always, have that investment. And as soon as I mentioned that to him, because he was on the fence for a while, and I finally closed and I told him that, within the next week and a half, they ended up getting in contract because he got super motivated to buy a house. And he was
Nice.
older than me. He was a few years older than me. So I think when I relate to them in that way, it motivates them a little bit too. Just, okay, if he can do it, he bought a house, he's able to do that payment, and they know I'm commission only too, we can do it too. Like we're on fixed salaries, we make enough, you know. I tried not to max out their DTI as much as I can just so they're still kind of have that little wiggle room.
Sure.
But yeah, I think just relating to them has been complete game changer for me. Like night and day difference, just relating to them and explaining them my process when I bought my house and having them kind of compare it to theirs. Because we all have the same worries. Like, oh wow, I have this payment every month now, or
Right.
I have this huge loan. So that, yeah, game changer for sure.
I when I deal with first time home buyers, I'll figure out, a lot of say, well, I'm living with my mom right now, and I'm like, well, before you move back in to save for that down payment, what are you, oh, I was paying $1,800. Okay, well, $1,800 right now the second would get you about this amount. And then a lot of times, like, well, that's, I can't live in the same neighborhood my mom does like that. Like, cool, no, let's go look at Rancho Cordova. Let's
Right.
go look at some of the other areas, that maybe don't have HOAs or don't have flood insurance or whatever, depending on where you're looking in Sacramento. But then I'm like, okay, but for $100 more, because it's like, well, how much more can I get for $100? Well, you can get this amount. And in different markets, that's where the rates start to come in. Lower rates, you can get more for that 100, then higher rates, you get less.
Right.
But usually there's a reality check there because sometimes they'll be looking at the $600,000 out in West Roseville, and I'm like, Yeah. Zero down. That's going to be or 3.5% down. That's going to be a big payment, man. Those taxes, insurance, HOA. Um, by the time we're done, they're like, but I grew up in that neighborhood. And I'm like, well, your parents been working for 30 years. That's why they live out there.
Right.
You're not quite there. So if you could just hang there for 2 years, and if some of these guys are single, and I'm like, why don't you rent out 2 of the rooms? You can do a lot. And believe me, those 2 years are going to go fast because it's still your house. I mean, it's so different. And they're helping pay it. There's so many things you do. A little different when you're married. Obviously, you're going to be renting out a bunch of rooms.
Right.
But, your generation is figuring that out. Actually, you guys bought early. Right now, I think 30 seems to be it's really hard to buy because I don't think the jobs are there for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure.
In Bay Area, get down that way, I've got multiple generations going into houses because it takes all their money to do it. That's I get a call and they'll say QC Audits as a broker, and they'll say, hey, we got like 4 different people, and I'm like, yeah, this San Jose, that's normal. You guys are in Detroit, Michigan. I get that's not normal there, but that's normal out there.
Yeah, for sure.
$1 million probably have boarded up windows in San Jose.
Yeah. So. Even like I get a lot of people, and you probably already know this, that move. They still work in the Bay Area, but they
work there and move. Yeah.
Move to Sacramento, move to El Grove.
Bring their dollars back.
The first instance I had where a guy, I pre-approved him for like 1.3 million or something. Right. And I didn't even max it out. He said, hey, 1.3 is fine. And then I jokingly said, like, hey, you should just move to Sacramento. You can buy a mansion with that. Didn't think anything of it. Like 2 weeks later, he said, hey, do you have a real estate agent out there I can talk to? And I said, yeah, for sure. Gave him the info. He found a house for $850 in El Grove. Huge.
Well, compared to where he's come from, absolutely.
They lived in San Jose, and they worked in somewhere in the Bay. I can't remember where. So they were already driving like 30 minutes to work. So he said, am I going to have an issue if I buy a house there and I just drive to work? He said, I mean, it's not that far, but I think his job was in Oakland. So not that far from here. And I said, I don't know. I can do a underwriting scenario. And the underwriter who did the underwriting scenarios, actually, I don't know how it ended up happening, but she used to live up here in Northern California.
So she understood.
Oh yeah, that's super normal. Whatever underwriter you get, just explain to them that that's just how the market is out there. So he ended up buying this house in El Grove. Underwriter did question why he was moving so far. They're like, occupancy issues, and we're just like, no, he just for $850 in San Jose, he cannot buy anything. He can't buy anything. There's nothing for sale there for $850. It's all 1.1.
I agree.
So I've been having a lot of that as far as like Bay Area, because it's crazy out there. You do really need to have like 5 people on the loan to try to make it work. Even then, the payment will be crazy. I just had a guy he bought his house in 97 for $218,000, and he just sold it in San Jose for 1.39.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
People hear that and they get so frustrated, and I'm like, you're missing the whole point of that story is he took a chance.
Yeah.
You've got to put a foot in, or you'll never have one of those stories. You're just going to be the one that hears about those stories. I haven't had quite that appreciation, but I know people that have had it. I live about an hour outside of Atlanta, so it's kind of the same thing. A lot of commute comes in the morning going all the way into Atlanta because it's like San Francisco. You can get bigger dollars, a lot of jobs, but they want to live in the outskirts because it's cheaper as you get out of Atlanta and get to some of the smaller suburbs, stuff like that. This is really good information, and I'm glad you shared all that personal stuff because I think people need to hear that. You're also in a state that has a lot of Hispanic-speaking people, and they want home ownership too. So I can see why people are relying you on that. And the fact that you're already a homeowner adds just so much validity. You don't even know this, but this guy Julio just came to us. He's out of Utah. He's one of the top Hispanic market Telemundo advertisers.
Oh, wow.
Just love that community, wants home ownership, and has just thrived in that. And I could see that you're back building into that. So with Thomas's help and a little bit of guidance to see that he made that jump, you're right in the right place where you're going to continue making those jumps. It's going to be interesting to see you in a year and 2 years from now where you're at in this industry. I think you're going to do really, really well. That's why I was glad we had this interview. But that's it. You got any questions for me? You got your one chance. Ask me any question you want, or not. But I always want people to know you can ask me a question too.
So you were with Answer Home Loans before, right?
Yeah. So I had Answer Home Loans. I took a partner. His name's Dan Maybaum, and we opened that company. And our concentration was on purchase-driven loan originators that already had business relationships. And then the goal was to do a small broker fee, but we really were only California, mostly Northern California.
Yeah.
But that one grew to the point that it was number 4 in the nation at one time. It was either 20 or 21 because of COVID. We were doing 850 deals a month. I mean, that was crazy. That's even when, you have to understand, when the appraisers were taking a month to get your appraisal back, you had to pay like an extra $1,000 to rush it. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. It was one of the worst times to try and and you had to there's 20 people making, 40 people making offers on the same house. The fact that we could do that many loans in that scenario, I mean, I don't wish that upon anybody. And someone said that yesterday, and this is something that you guys can do too. A lot of people in that last question, what would you say to people? They say, oh, if it just pulls back to 5.75, I think I'd be ready to jump in. But Hano brought something up, and he's going to be putting this out there too. But the education side of that is this. Right now, there's no competition for that house.
Right.
The seller would probably give you a big chunk of credit towards your closing costs and or give you a 2-1 buy down. At the current rates at 6.75 or 7.
Yep.
But you want to wait till 5.75 when there's going to be 40 other people making offers and there's 0 credits, 0 money for the 2-1 buy down, where right now you could get 2 years on the seller's credit. That should, through educating them to say, don't let that be the reason, because what you're waiting for is going to be a completely different market for you to even have a chance at getting houses. Get ready. Like you said, your first offer got accepted. When I was making offers for people, sometimes I was making 20 different offers.
Right.
Right. And then, constantly, what they always say, I need your highest and best offer. And it's like, oh, good Lord, here we go. Taking my people all the way, because they're all maxed out already. You don't want to keep going higher and higher. So just crazy. It's a good market though, because something's happening out there. Here in the next couple of months, hopefully all this new administrative stuff will kick in, because there's our president for 4 years. We need, do something. Let's get it going. Homeowners are ready. So 100%. Arturo, I want to say thank you for your time today. I thank you for just giving us that honest, younger thought process, because some of us have been in the industry a long time. The average person in this industry is like 46 years old.
Yep.
So there's not a lot of new younger people coming in. Commission structured, money's up and down. Most people can't stomach that.
Yeah,
but those who can are going to excel through the roof, and it will change your life. You'll probably never be able to go back to a W-2 job, because once you know that you can count on yourself to make a living, let alone if you can get ahead in life, the last thing you want to do is go work for somebody else. So it's like you want that freedom. So I just want to say thank you for trusting Xpert Home Lending, giving us a chance. You help make us stronger by being here, and I appreciate it. I wish you and your team, I just a lot of success. I know you guys are blowing up and doing a lot of things. I'll be coming out your way for some events, and I'll make sure that I kick in and help you guys a little bit to make sure I'm backing up what you guys are doing, because I know you're doing a lot of it 100% out of your own pocket. A lot of people don't realize you're investing in yourselves. Congratulations on the success you guys are having. Thank you for your interview and your time today. But this is how I always leave it every time we shut down the interview. Stay thirsty, my friends.
Thanks.
All right, Arturo. Thanks. Take care, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. Bye.